Steve, thank you very much to agreeing to do this interview with DaggersTV today. You've obviously been very busy, people have seen over the last couple of weeks campaigning to get the league started. Can you just give us a little bit about what you've been up to and what you've been doing?
Well, I mean, up until Tuesday of last week, we thought we were having spectators into the ground. And it was a shock last Tuesday of last week when it was announced. When the league agreed to start on the 3rd of October, it was on the basis that we would have some spectators. We were working on a socially distanced model, which would have probably got us in about 1,400 supporters. So about what our average crowd was last year. That then seemed to be getting chipped away, and it looked like we were going to be allowed 1,000 supporters. And even then, it would have been challenging, but it would have been good, and the whole ground has been set up ready to take those. Anybody here that were here for the West Ham Arsenal women's game or the friendly against Concord would have seen all the work that we've done. I think Chris said to me that we got 77 hand sanitisers in and around the ground and the clubhouse. I mean, it's the amount of work that's gone on. And then last week to turn around and say, no, you can't have any spectators and you can't have them possibly for 6 months was a real body blow. And we're now just trying to sort out what we could do. As soon as I learnt that, we'd already been in touch with local MPs regarding trying to get a pilot, because it took 2 weeks of lobbying the DCMS for us to be allowed to be a pilot game for the Concord game. And then to say now you're not going to have any spectators, I could see that what was coming out from a lot of other clubs, especially in North and South, was that they might have said, well, we can't afford to start. And that's what I did. And I'd like to publicly thank John Cruddas, the MP for Dagenham and Rainham. Excuse me. I mean, John's been fantastic. I've known John a long time. He's been helping the club right from the start of lockdown. Any queries that I had, anything that we needed, he was sending stuff to the Treasury on our behalf. And then Andrew Rossendow, the MP for Romford, a couple of weeks ago, he sent a letter to the DCMS about the pilot scheme supporting our applications to be a pilot game. And then I got in touch with him last week, and he wrote again to the DCMS along with John to support our case, which is really fantastic. And you've got MPs from both ends of the spectrum supporting you. You know you're doing something right. So yeah, so it's been challenging the last week, but yeah, we're there, or we're hopefully.
Yeah, and obviously we won't have fans here, but we will be starting behind closed doors. The government have agreed a package. Can you sort of give us any further details on that package?
Not an awful lot. I don't know much about it myself, apart from what we've read in the papers. I understand that it'll be a package that'll be probably paid monthly. It's there to replace the income that you lost on a match day, not having supporters. But that's not just ticket revenue. It's match sponsorship, ball sponsorship, hospitality, people using the bars, people using the shop. And there's all those types of things that we would have on a match day, and which we're not going to get. So the league have been collating information from all 67 clubs, which went to the FA, and I'm not certain in what form. So there will be a package. Exactly how much it is, I don't think even the league know yet. Exactly how that's going to be paid, we don't know yet. But what I am assured is that it will be sufficient to help clubs plug their gap, and it'll be there until we're allowed spectators back. Because the Prime Minister said last week, possibly 6 months, but it might not be 6 months. So it could be that we've got supporters back in December or January or February. So we've got the gear up for that as well.
And obviously we've reacted to that and got our streaming service getting ready for that, but we moved quite early with that, didn't we? That's sort of been in place for...
Well, yeah, about 4 weeks. We started the streaming service as soon as the league gave clubs permission to provide their own streaming service. Up until then, there's obviously the 3 o'clock embargo on live matches in England and Wales, and there was the BT agreement. So BT had the rights, have still got the rights to the footage. Both were lifted, and so we moved straight away. And I think we've announced something today regarding the streaming, but it's going to be to the wire. It's going to be tomorrow maybe before we got the link ready, but that we're working. The equipment's installed. It's setting up the paywall and testing everything, which you're involved with at the moment, so which is really good and exciting. I mean, when I decided to set the system up, it wasn't really designed for our home supporters. It was designed for the fact that we probably couldn't have away supporters, especially when it looked like it was going to be 1,000 supporters. We realised that we probably wouldn't be having the 300 or 400 from Notts County or the couple of hundred from Stockport and that type of things, and that makes a big difference to our income. So it has been relatively expensive to set up, but I worked on the basis that we could do that, and I was also mindful of the fact if there was some form of local lockdown which prevented home supporters coming to a game, and I was thinking that maybe we might end up playing 2 or 3 games during the season behind closed doors, then it gave us season ticket holders and our other supporters an opportunity to watch the game. So that was my initial thought, and it turns out it was good foresight because we need it even more now. And I hope that the package that we've come up for season ticket holders in particular, it seems to be recognised that we're trying to be fair to everybody, and the feedback that we've got has been good so far, so I thank the supporters for that. And hopefully it might be January, February, and we can get people back. What we've got to remember is that it is only for our home games, and really only home league games. The agreements around the footage for FA Cup and FA Trophy games are different. They're owned by the FA. I would expect us to be able to stream them certainly in the early rounds, and some arrangement with the FA, but that hasn't been finalised yet. What I think everybody's got to remember is that everything's changing so quickly that we've got to react as things happen, and that's difficult. And it must be difficult for the staff. It must be very for the supporters. And really, I really ought to say thank you to everybody. The staff here, yourself included, and Charlie and Tony, Ben on the ground, absolutely fantastic. Chris has been working his socks off as usual. I mean, everybody works so hard to get the ground ready for the pilot games, ready for us to have, and that's all stopped. And now we're looking at all the other things that we've got to do. And I really ought to remember and say a really big thank you to all the volunteers that have been here for the last couple of months and the work that they've done getting the ground ready for spectators. Thank you. I'm sorry that we're not got the spectators coming in, but we will get them.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the streaming, it's down to individual clubs whether they're going to stream. Some might only do an audio. They hold the rights to that footage, so they will pick their price. We've looked around and there's been discussions online, and the general price is going to be about £9.99. We're discounting that for season tickets nominally for against their season ticket price of £8.99, which we again we wanted to be fair to try and give the season ticket holders something a little bit better. I'm not technical, but I'm told that you can wire it up to your TV if you've got a smart TV or Chromecast it. I'm learning loads of those. Loads of new words. I mean, I never knew what Teams or Zoom or Skype or all those things before lockdown, but the same as everybody else. So yeah, it's working. It looks good. I've seen the tests. I think supporters will be happy with it. I hope they're happy with it, and it's a way of everybody keeping together until we can come back together.
Obviously, now we've gone over it, we did the questions on Twitter and Facebook and asked people to send those in. One of the big ones was around the streaming service, about will we be able to stream our matches in the clubhouse for people to be able to come down and watch.
The away games are owned by the home club, and it seems to me that most clubs are not. For us to be able to broadcast it in the clubhouse in a away game, we would have to get the permission of the home team. And there was a group email chat that I saw recently, and it seems to be that most clubs are not minded to do that. We've also got to think about social distancing within the club and all of those things that are involved with the new COVID world that we live in. My initial idea was to possibly sell online in advance tickets for the big hall, where we know we can accommodate 60 people, 10 tables of 6. And we were looking at doing that, and we probably would have charged a fiver, and we would have done it through the new ticketing system that we've got. So we've got track and trace in place. We know who we start sending them to. We would have monitored that. We would have had table service. And going forward, it's something that we will look at, but because not every club is going to be streaming, we can't stream out an away game. So because not every club is going to be streaming, and because every club's not going to give us permission to show it, then it's going to be on an ad hoc basis. But that was my initial thoughts. With our home games, we've still got to get the permission of public health for that, and whether it agrees with the protocols that we've got in place around running a game behind closed doors. Because this has happened so quickly, and we've all been working very hard just to get everything ready. We haven't yet had those conversations, so we certainly won't be doing it for the Barnet game on Tuesday night, and we probably won't be in a position to do it for the Wilstone game. I'm sorry about that, and we're not certain yet whether the Halifax are in a position to stream their game this Saturday, so that I can't do anything for that. But going forward, we will look at it, and if we can do it, we will. But at the moment, I can't guarantee.
And on the flip side of that, for those that perhaps live further away or in different countries, will they be able to stream the games?
Oh yes, this streaming system is worldwide. When we get back to the situation where we're getting back to some form of normality, then there is a chance that the 3 o'clock embargo will come back. And there is a chance that BT might turn around and say that we can't do the streaming anymore. They want to keep their rights. If one or both of those happens, then we wouldn't, if the 3 o'clock embargo goes in place, we could still stream evening games and bank holiday games. We just couldn't stream a 3 o'clock game on a Saturday. If BT evoke their agreement, then we wouldn't be able to show any within the UK. The overseas rights, we would still be able to do that. So anybody in America or Australia or New Zealand, and I know we've got people that follow us in all 3 of those countries and a number of others, then yes, it will continue. Now we've got it in place.
Yeah.
If there's one good thing about what's happened, is that we put it in place, and we probably couldn't have justified it for the few people that would have watched it outside the UK, whereas now it'll be paid for, and we've got it going forward.
So going back to the package that we've got from government, was there any particular reason that it was almost left till the start of the season, or is that just how it all sort of worked out?
Well, the package is there because we can't have spectators. So it was only Tuesday of last week, so 10 days ago, that we knew we couldn't have any supporters. If we could have had supporters, we wouldn't be asking for the package. The package wasn't. We all agreed that we would start on the 3rd of October, thinking that we had spectators. So all our budgets, forecasts was on the basis of having spectators. As soon as you took that away, and it's not, as I said, it's not just the ticket money, it's all the ancillaries on the day, then we lost all that money. And that was what was the problem for clubs. So it wasn't, the league, the 3rd of October was picked because on the 17th of July, the Prime Minister announced that the aim was to bring spectators back from the 1st of October. If the 1st of October had been a Sunday or a Monday, we would have kicked off on the Tuesday. So, and that's the reason why. And if anything, it's the government was at fault for leaving it to the last minute for telling us. But then they're only reacting to what's happening around. Everybody's trying to do their best. Everybody's reacting to what's happening in the country at the moment and in the world at the moment. So it's no one's fault, and no one's left it to the last minute. If anything, really, the government has done well, the DCMS has done well to get a package together in such a quick space time. I mean, it's difficult. The negotiations on behalf of the National League were being done by the FA. So people like me, and I'm not the only one, because I've heard other people on TV and on the radio as well. People like me, we took it upon ourselves to lobby government via our local MPs to make them realise that something needed to be done for the 67 clubs. We're a community asset in the strongest term, not just Dagenham and Redbridge, but all of the 67 clubs. They're a real integral part of their communities, and it was important that we kept them. So yeah, it wasn't really a last minute thing. It was just the way it happened.
And are there any sort of conditions that we have to stick to?
Well, as I say, we don't know yet, and it's because it's such a short space of time that they've had to react to. They've come up and said yes, there will be money. How it's going to be paid, whether it's going to be X amount to every National League club and a different amount to North and South, or whether it will depend on your average gate, or I don't know yet. But what I do know is that it's been trialled in Parliament. Yesterday in the House of Commons there was questions about it. No one's going to back down on it now. It's just, and with everything in life, the devil's in the detail, I know, but it's just sorting out that detail. But I'm really, really confident, and I'm really, really pleased that we'll be getting on the train to Halifax on Saturday morning.
Going back to fans and season tickets, obviously we were going to have this new season ticket system in place where electronic cards would have been sent out to season ticket holders. Ray asked, will the club still be posting those out in readiness if the government changes its policy?
I think one thing that the last 6 months has shown us is that the government closes down things without any notice, but gives us plenty of notice before they lift restrictions. The new ticketing system was put in place, and to be fair, Charlie and I were looking at this back in January, and in fact Woking, who had the system last year, if you remember that game that was cancelled before the season was officially called off, Charlie and I were going to Woking to see the system in place. So we were bringing the system in anyway, but we were going to run it alongside of people paying on the turnstiles. Well, no one will be paying on the turnstiles for the foreseeable future. The actual production of the cards are a cost. So it's not really worth us issuing those cards, getting them produced and issuing them, until we know that we're playing football. Because even with this package, it is still going to be a challenging season for everybody. I mean, not just the money that we're losing on a match day. Those people that are regulars here will know we have not got any functions going on at the moment. I mean, we're taking about 10% in bar sales of what we would normally do. So there's lots of other things that we're losing money on at the moment, and one of the things, and I mentioned the 70 odd sanitisers. I mean, we've spent thousands of pounds on the ground getting it ready for supporters. We've spent hundreds of pounds within the clubhouse making it COVID safe. We've spent several £1,000s on this streaming service. We've spent a few £1,000s already on the ticketing system. So we're spending money in other ways and not getting the income in as we would expect. So I think everybody who knows me will know that we look at cost, and if we can save money somewhere, then we do it. And so the season cards, I'm confident that if the season, when we can get them out to supporters in enough time, whenever we're allowed to bring spectators back.
And finally, just to end with something a little bit different, but a little bit of a lighter note as well, from A Game of Headers and Volleys, the podcast. So, Steve, you're hosting a dinner party. And
hosting a what? Sorry?
You're hosting a dinner party.
Right, okay.
And can only invite 3 guests. One has to be an ex-Daggers manager, one has to be an ex-Daggers player, and one has to be someone who works or volunteers at the club.
Oh, blimey. Well, the ex-manager would have to be Ted Hardy. Ted was manager when I was first elected to the the management committee of Dagenham Football Club, and when I became treasurer of Dagenham in the mid-80s, Ted was manager, and he worked really hard, well with me. He taught me an awful lot. A fantastic man. I used to drive around the country with him. We played Peterborough in an FA Cup game, I remember, and he said to me, we were due to play them away, so the week before he said, can we go to the game? He said, I want to watch them. And we didn't have so much video recordings of games in those days and things like that. So I said, yeah, okay. I said, I'll ring them up and ask for 2 tickets. He said, no. He said, don't ring them. He said, I don't want them to know that we're here. And Ted used to do that a lot. So we went down, drove into Peterborough, we queued up at the turnstiles, we paid our money, we went in, we were standing, I remember we were standing on the terrace in behind the goal, and suddenly it came over on the tannoy. And we'd like to welcome Dagenham and Redbridge manager Ted Hardy, who's on the terracing. And you couldn't go anywhere with Ted without someone recognise him. But I thought to myself that day, well, we could have saved the ticket money, and I might have got some hospitality as well. And that was Ted. So Ted's a fantastic man, and he would certainly be the ex-manager.
Ex-player?
Ex-player. Well, it'd have to be Robbo, wouldn't he? Tony Roberts. I mean, he's a fantastic guy, and that. So, who else would you invite? I still speak to Tony in fact, Tony rang me just 10 days ago, a fortnight ago, and I keep in touch with Tony quite a lot, and he's doing a lot with the Welsh FA at the moment, so that's good. And the last one?
Which was someone who works or volunteers. Works
or volunteers for the club. And that's a really hard one, because everybody that works for them now will be looking and asking, and everybody that I mean, all the volunteers have been fantastic, and some of the volunteers that are here on a match day, Joan Wallace, Brenda Monaghan, Dave Baisden, who haven't been able to come down and help out. I've mentioned those 3, but I've probably forgotten some others. So I mean, and all the volunteers that have stepped up these last couple of months to get the ground ready. I mean, we're blessed with a lot of really great volunteers here. So as not to offend anybody, I'm going to invite Tommy Sloan. And Tommy Sloan was was involved with the founding of Dagenham Football Club, and was fixture secretary here for a number of years. In fact, I think he was I know he was the first ever steward when the clubhouse here was built in 1966. He passed away a few years ago. He was a lovely man. The last years involved with the club before he was taken ill, he ran the club's boardroom. He was a great friend of mine. So, and I'd always had Tommy for dinner anyway, and that's an easy way of not upsetting anybody else. So that's who I got to pick.
Lovely. Well, Steve, thank you very much for your hard work over the last couple of weeks, and thanks for speaking to us.
No, it's my pleasure. I'm hoping, really hope that supporters have got a chance to watch the game at Halifax on Saturday. It's a long way to travel. We're all going up on the day, so I'm hoping that that's possible. And I just urge as many people as I can to log into the streaming Log in to keep an eye on our website on a regular basis and our social media. I know you've got plans to keep in touch with all our supporters through the season so we all can come back. Take care everybody, stay safe, and hopefully it won't be too long before we see everybody again. Thank you.